Hello, Bible Fellowship Church. This is Pastor Chris, and welcome back to Digging Deeper. I'm here with Daniel Bagherpour. Daniel, here we are again.
Yes, we are.
This every week, man. It's almost like we're stuck in a perpetual video cycle.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday night, we enter into this weird world of... And here we are, filming again. Yeah. Oh, man. Listen, I hope you guys joined us on Sunday. What an exciting time as we've been going through Acts. Man, it's just been incredible, Daniel. I'm having a lot of fun. In fact, my favorite point from this message this week is simply, it has to do with worship.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about the life of Stephen and how he preached that incredible message before the Sanhedrin. And one of the themes in his message, and I think actually, in my opinion, it was probably the theme of his message, it was about worship. Because the Jews had sort of made the temple equal to God in some ways. I mean, it was almost as if the temple itself was as important as God himself. And so they were worshiping the temple and God. And so one of the accusations against Stephen was that he was talking bad about the temple. You know, because Jesus said that not one stone would be left on another, speaking of the temple.
Oh, yeah.
And so Stephen is repeating these things, and they get all offended by it, and they bring these charges against him that he's speaking bad about the temple, because for some reason, the temple had become for them a god. And so Stephen begins to talk to them about worship, and he begins to talk to them about how God, even in the Old Testament, had said, I don't dwell in houses built by human hands.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, God, why would God lower himself to that? You know, that's what God was saying. And so, yeah, it just made me start thinking about this idea of worship. And I thought, you know what? Stephen was the first Christian, the first follower of Jesus, martyred, the first one to give his life for Jesus. And in some ways, man, that was one of the most incredible acts of worship. I mean, that was the thought I had as I was thinking about it. And so I came across this quote, or this idea that there is no worship without sacrifice. And in other words, you have to give something, sacrifice something in order to worship God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me about a movie we just saw recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we saw John Wick 4. And there's a beautiful scene in that movie when John is thanking his friend, the Japanese man who runs the hotel and was hosting him, for being his friend in a time of need. Because literally John was being, they were trying to assassinate him. Yeah. And his friend turns to him and says, well, what good is a friend if not in a time of need?
Yeah.
In so many words, that was what he conveyed. And it really hit home. I was like, yeah, that's so true. You know, if you're only someone's friend when it's convenient,
or easy, right?
That's not friendship.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that's a great illustration of the same idea, right? If you want to express worship to God, it's got to cost you something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking money. I mean, you can worship through giving. Absolutely. Like that is an act of worship. You can sacrificially give and act that way, but it could be other things too. It can be a friendship. Mm-hmm. It could be like, you know, I'm going to identify with Jesus, and so that may cost me a friendship, you know, because my friends might think I'm a weirdo, or they may shun me now because of that, or whatever. That could be an act of worship, is just publicly expressing your commitment to Christ. Yeah. You know, an act of worship can be service too, just giving of your time, serving. You know, it's anything that costs you something. You know? So worship is not worship without sacrifice.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So I think about this in a corporate setting. You're sitting in a church, the church is filled with people, and the band comes up, the worship team, and they begin to worship. So what are you sacrificing in those moments? How do you express worship in that moment? I've been having this thought, you know, all week as I've been thinking about all this, but I think, you know, one act is just simply raising your hands, maybe. Yeah. I mean, there's a bit of sacrificing of your pride, of your, you know, whatever, just lifting your hands to God and, you know, unashamedly worshiping Him in that sense. That doesn't mean that you can't worship if you don't lift your hands. Right. But how are you giving and sacrificing in your worship? Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I hope this has challenged you guys. Man, this is such a cool thought and a good topic to discuss. And, I hope that you are finding ways in your life to sacrifice in your worship to God as you express your love to Him. And because look at what He's done for us, right, Daniel? I mean, He's done incredible things for us.
Yeah.
And so let's see what we can do to bless Him by how we give our lives. Stephen gave his very life. You can't sacrifice really more than that. And so God is pleased when we do that. And I think He'll be pleased with you as you sacrificially give through worship. And so thanks for joining us, you guys, as we've dug a little deeper today. We hope you have a great week. God bless you, and we'll see you again real soon. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Pastor Chris.
All right.